Hi, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me for and the Justice for Gerard movement for turning this moment into a movement. As you may know, or if this is your first time joining us, the movement for me began the day my son Gerard, who was wrongfully convicted of a crime he did not do. That moment birthed this movement, the Justice for Gerard movement, where we not only fight for and advocate for Gerard, we also use this safe space as a platform to advocate for others in the fight for justice, to raise awareness of issues, to speak truth to power for the need of criminal justice reform. An injustice everywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Hi, everyone. Hello.
Hello.
So before we get started, I just want to say happy birthday to you, Trisha.
Thank you so much.
My strong sister warrior. Yay. Thank you for, being here with us today. And I'm so grateful that Nicholas Buckingham is here today.
Yeah.
And also Jay LaRon is here with us today.
Hey, how y'all doing?
We are. So, Mr. Nicholas Buckingham, could you introduce yourself and tell us, what it is that you do?
Yeah, most definitely. Peace and love, everybody. My name is Nicholas DeFell Buckingham. I am the campaign director and also one of the co-founders of Michigan Liberation, which is a statewide org, a nonprofit, where a 501c4 and a super PAC that focus on criminal legal issues in the state, from your prison to your local jail down to your courthouses. Mainly, a lot of accountability going into prosecutors and to police work as well. Formerly incarcerated, spent about 7 years in prison for armed robbery. My activism started while I was incarcerated. I led a campaign to reduce the cost of phone calls in Michigan, and was able to see a win with that campaign, bringing it down to a much more affordable rate. And so, yeah, social work by degree, and do a whole lot of work for those who have been impacted by the legal system.
And you also did a powerful campaign movement for attorney Victoria Burton Harris. So I want to give you accolades on that too. That's awesome.
Yeah, much love. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if I can, I've been working on prosecutorial accountability issues for about 4 years, before it was like even a such thing. And just remember, like, first having those conversations 4 years ago, the amount of people that told me, I was out of my mind. I was losing it to ever go against one of the most powerful characters in the criminal legal system. But, 4 years later, was able to organize across the state, not only leading the campaign here in Wayne County, but Oakland County and other places, making endorsements in Washtenaw, and making endorsements also in Macomb County. So that's one of my specialties. I like poking at prosecutors when we understand mass incarceration. How do we end this? We got to look at the power players, right? And not continuously go at the folks that's impacted and criminalized.
I'm sorry, you guys. I had a little technical issue, but I'm back.
You're back.
So next, we have Jay. All right. I'm not going to touch anything else. Jay, welcome. And introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time hearing you, but I'm gonna make sense of it.
Okay.
So, my name is my real name is Jordan Beauregard. Uh, I'm formerly incarcerated. I've been out. Actually been home since this Monday just passed. I just did almost 4 years. Um, I went through some struggles in my incarceration, but that was what also made me, take a big look at the mass incarceration, especially when the COVID crisis hit. There was plenty of windows, plenty of doors open to get guys out to depopulate the whole situation. They didn't want to. It's all about money. We know that. So that's when I took a stand on that and I joined the Corona Chronicles with Darnell Ishmael. I made several phone recordings stating the undue hardships that we were facing, on the other side. And that's just, a little in a, nutshell of what I can give.
Right. I listened to the Corona Chronicles, and I'm familiar with Daniel Ishmael. He was here on last week, and those stories are so impactful and powerful because we're hearing for the stories in your own voice.
Right.
And also, Trisha, just for those who, this may be their first time, tell us about yourself and what you do.
All righty. My name is Trisha Duckworth. I am a social worker by profession, and I am the executive director of Survivor Speak. I'm just happy to be here. And Jay, thank you for just the continuation of the work and all that you're doing, to continue to spread awareness and educate.
Thank you, Trisha. So let's talk. COVID-19. Anyone want to take the lead on it? I'm just going to say for me, in regards to Gerard, who is, inside, he suffers from severe Crohn's disease. That's my son. And he has a compromised immune system. I just talked to him maybe a half an hour before we came on today. And he finally is out of quarantine. He had his last test, and he was good in regards to the COVID. However, because of the COVID, he was unable to get his infusion that he needs for Crohn's disease. And as he was coming out of quarantine, there was those in the area that he's stationed in was going into quarantine. So I said, wow, it's unbelievable that you've been gone for 14 days and now you got to go back into a space that has been infected by others. That makes no sense to me how they're moving people back and around in circles like musical chairs with this COVID. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Well, actually, Jay, I can speak on that, how they are moving people around for the quarantine process, and it's horrible. I can tell you real quick, on my way quarantining, coming out to the halfway house, coming home, they were quarantining us in a hallway. These rooms that they were quarantining us in were not enclosed. They had open windows, open shafts. Guys would come to the door and talk to us. We had orderlies, which mean people who work, come back and forth, clean, some with no mask. Then they'll bring people who tested positive, quarantine them in an isolation room. Mm-hmm. And after their 7 to 14 day process, they bring them in the hallway with us to quarantine for another 2 weeks. So now we're mixing positive and negative together in the same hallway. So when someone in the hallway tests positive, let's say, right, and I've got 14 days of quarantine in, they start my whole 14 days over because I'm in the same hallway with a positive test. So they're handling the whole situation, no organization. They just going day by day. They quarantining guys 40, 50 days before they come home when it's only supposed to be 14 or 21. So it's crazy in there.
Yeah, and I could jump in there. I've been away from the system for a little minute here, but the work, right? I think I'm getting at least 2 text messages and 2 phone calls a day of people that's just saying, "Hey, I have a loved one that's impacted." Um, Oh, my daughter's up there crying. That they have a loved one that's impacted, the work that's like, to go into this and to hear, from our governor that absolutely nothing. There's nothing that's coming about with like how they're going to handle these things. There's a lot of movement on the streets of trying to bring people together and make like policy change to bring a lot of that population down. But it's sickening, right? When we look at the numbers. And, Trisha, we talked about this in many of our spaces together about people like at Huron's Valley, the women who don't have a lot of space to move around, let alone have another facility to go to be quarantined. So yeah, it's a sickening process, and to this very moment, we're still trying to get as much support and as much help for the folks that's locked up. Not just inside the prisons, but inside the county jails as well.
Right. I think today we have over 15,400 people that has been infected in the Michigan Department of Corrections, and then we have about 6,300 active cases and 90 deaths, and we don't know how many more happen to, or if any happen today until later on this evening. But half of the people that's been incarcerated has been affected. And it seems like with that much infection going on, that there should be a plan or something going on, because they know these spaces are overcrowded. I mean, I just talked to Gerard and he was saying, what Jay just said, like when he walks down the hall, it's so tight. It's like two people fitting down a hallway. So he can be walking right past someone that's already infected and just came out of quarantine.
Yeah. And it's bad enough how tight it is in there, right? I remember when just before I came home, they started to add an extra bunk into the quarantine in Block 7. Was it Block 7? I think so. But they started to add an extra bunk in there. Like these cells, which was bars, were already small enough with a locker and a toilet in there, put a desk. You don't have much room to like really move around. And to add another bed in there, right? To put people on top of people inside these small cells. It just shows that the system, our governor and the director of MDOC, they don't really care about the personal safety of people that's in there. As long as we just incarcerate, we're pulling people out the community. They had a crime that they committed. They have to do the time, and then that's like the level of respect that they get. They don't have the sense of really caring that there's people that's dying, 10 days before they come home. There's juvenile lifers that had the opportunity to have their cases reversed, right? These people were once told that they will die in prison. And because of legislation was changed, they get an opportunity to come back out into this world. But before they get here, they're impacted by the virus, and then they die, right? And so, we got to really, when we talk about this inside the prisons, we have to be real. We have to be explicit with our stories. And when I say be explicit with the stories, like talk the hard stuff that's really hard to talk about. Like there are people that's literally dying in prison, folks that, I'm not trying to make this into a violent or non-violent offense thing, but you have people that are literally walking days from their out date that just won't see another day in life. And that blood, right? All of those deaths is going onto somebody's hands. The community is doing their part. Grassroots organizers, formerly incarcerated people, we're doing our part. The folks that's not doing their part is our government and our legislators. and it hurts me, right? I feel like this is the biggest smack in the face because we're an organization that organized formerly incarcerated people, believing that those closest to the problem are closest to the solution, furthest from resources and power. And here it is, we get close to resources and power, and we make our endorsements into some of these people that said that they stand on our platform, they stand on our issues. But the moment that something is impacted in the territory where we organize, we can't even get a letter from our governor. We
Right.
can't even get a news conference, right? So I just, for everybody that's listening, think about who it is that's out here knocking on doors for these folks. A lot of these people that's hired in is formerly incarcerated. Now, we're busting our butt to get people elected, but then we can't get that same level of conversation when there's other folks that have walked my path that's impacted, right?
Right. I think you said last week, Trisha, you just got a response well, a week or two ago from a letter, and we was doing that campaign in what, May?
In April. In April or in May, we did that. So, there's no plan, but that's strategic. They don't care. You think they care if they sacrifice a few bodies? No, because the way that they've created the system is going to be a revolving door. So they figure they will just replace bodies. It means nothing to them. And these are our loved ones. These are our brothers. These are our siblings. These are our sisters. Like, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to know that even, and we talked about this last week, churches could be negotiating their spaces. Y'all want to have church so bad, open up them doors and do the real work of God for real. You know what I'm saying? It makes absolutely no sense because that is open space that could just be used. Yet you have people crowded in hallways. That just breaks my heart to hear y'all say that, man. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And it's on purpose. And we've got to do something about it.
Right. And we're not asking for a free pass to get out of jail. we're asking for empathy and compassion. We want elected officials, these people that we, like you said, Nicholas, that we put in place to do their jobs for the people.
Yeah.
Not, just open the doors and let people out. I know I had posted, doing a Twitter storm, and I was reading people remarks, and people were saying, well, they're in jail. Who cares? Let them die. And that is the mindset of people.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's family members and loved ones. Those are our family members that we love that's going to come home, and we should supposed to treat them like we want others to treat us, and no, we're not going to let them die, and no, we're not going to not be, silent. We're going to speak out as much as we can until they do something. And I mean, our governor is, being nominated for the person of the year. And how can you be the person of the, all these good accolades about you and then you're letting people die every day in your prisons? So.
Yeah, I'm laughing at that statement. It's just, do we want to just open up the doors and let people out? Absolutely no, right? I don't think we can do this without talking about accountability first and foremost. But but I'm using it in the sense of like other than a fact. We have to talk about how did we get here, right? The COVID-19 isn't a prison issue. It's not a prison problem, right? The way that we got here is through draconic laws that has allowed our facility to be overcrowded in the first place. This isn't a problem that just took place in 2020, right? This has been a problem that's been going on since like 1989, since they put in the truth in sentencing and started keeping people 125% past their minimum, right? And then also with these draconic laws in our communities that are impacting, criminalizing Black and brown poor people to where we're just stacking them up inside the prison system for numbers. So a few facts that people can actually take away with when we talk about opening up the floodgates: 95% of the people that's incarcerated are coming back to your community. At one point in time, everybody in prison is not doing life, right? Everybody in prison is not doing huge 30, 40, 50 years, right? You have a lot of folks like, a huge population that is going to be coming back into your community within 10 years after receiving their conviction. In Michigan, our minimums is around 12, right? The other thing is like there's programs in place that people go into prison to get, right? These programs are supposed to be equipped to do the rehabilitation, as we should say, right? To get folks out of that criminalistic mindset. So if we're just thinking of opening up the doors, also think about all the programs that these men and women and also children are going through just to get back out into society. All right. The last thing that I want to say is, truth in sentencing is very real. And that was a strategic move to place that in Michigan. That wasn't a move because the crime violence in Michigan was going sky high. It was a move because they understand how much money it will cost and how much money they can profit off incarcerating people for long periods of time and taking away good time. So now at one point when you go into prison, you get your GED, you get some time knocked off because they want you to come back into the community and to be whole and to be sane. But there was a one particular governor that said, hey, I don't want these folks coming back into the community, but we can make a lot of money. We can make a lot of money if we keep them incarcerated past their minimum time, right? So this isn't the overpopulation of the prison. This thing has been going on since 1980s, the late 80s, right? Going into the 90s. So we're not saying open up the gates. We're saying, yo, let's talk to our legislators and let's look at policy and let's make meaningful policy where it's treating people like people, but we're cleaning up the mess that our governor has done back in the 80s and the 90s of just overpopulation of the prison system. It's time to bring a lot of those folks home. 90 years old, walking around a prison, cancer, wearing a diaper, a phlebotomy, like all of these things. Like, why? They're no threat to the society. They're no threat to community. Think about how many people in prison right now is dealing with a mental illness that they don't even know that they're in prison. Right. And now here it is. A virus is ripping through the prison. They don't even know that they're there. But we're not talking about these stories. Right. Our governor wants to hear stories about the successful return of citizen. That's what they want to hear. But no, let's talk about the real damage that our draconic laws are doing to our communities, to our families, and to our prison system.
Absolutely.
I agree.
I think that especially Michigan Liberation, and this is why, somebody asked me, about a plan, and I did refer them to you all because we've got to organize, we've got to mobilize, we've got to unite. And that is one of I call you all our big sibling, brothers and sisters in the game, because the way that you are organize and bring people together, different agencies coming together, no egos, just doing the work. That's what it's going to take. They are very strategic in how they move. We've got to become strategic in how we move to really, really break some of these barriers down, educate, and hold these people accountable. We in Washtenaw County, there's this thing called the Crew Report. And the Crew Report showed how we African Americans are, thrust into the system, and how there's a judge there, Judge Archie Brown. Can't wait to get on him. But Judge Archie Brown, how many people that have been incarcerated and over sentenced by this judge. And so, yeah, our governor is wrong, but we also, got to understand how these judges are abusing their power as well over sentencing people, and nobody ever says anything. Nobody. And then you reach out to the Judicial Tenure Commission or committee, and they do absolutely nothing. Yeah. So we got to hold these people to the fire. We've got to continue to hold them accountable. The only way that I know how to do it is expose them, expose their hands, and then come with the plan.
Right. Just like in Gerard's case, he was at his sentencing. It was asked that he stay here and, within the city so he can get his infusions and things like that. And the judge said out of her mouth he would get better health care in Jackson. Like, and I've been advocating every month almost for him. I mean, when he got there, they lost his medical records. He lost over 40 pounds because, trying to get that infusion for him, and, but this is what she said, and now we're sitting here. He had the COVID once, and now we're playing Russian roulette with COVID now with his health. So, Jay, I want to ask you, in regards to, because you know, you just recently came home. The what was like the treatments they were giving individuals for COVID?
Well, see, I know right now you're touching bases a lot on MDOC. Where I currently was just released from was the BOP. That's the Federal Bureau of Prisons.
Okay.
I've been on both with the COVID. The COVID just hit with MDOC when I left. Then I got the BOP, and then it was wildfire. In a small nutshell, let's just say 50 people all got COVID, one room. They're not giving no medication. They saying ibuprofen hides the fever. They're not giving no ibuprofen. They're not doing none of that. They're not giving you nothing to cope with it, nothing to counter for it or nothing. You know, it's just stick it out. Some guys, when they got overcrowded, when they had a quarantine room, it's like a quarantine gym. They were putting them in ISO rooms, no fan, no ventilation, no proper ventilation, no nothing. We talk in the middle of the summer. These rooms are 110 degrees. Let them tell it. They say the heat breaks the fever and the fever fights COVID or whatever the case may be. They literally stringing people along just to die, man. And and they getting away with it legally. They're getting away with it legally. You know what I mean? And I've seen guys like the brother was just speaking on, days before you going home. They sending people home sick. People dying on airplanes, bus rides home from the BOP. You know, going home, getting other family members sick, dying 3 days later in the hospital. You know, there was a girl named Andrea in the BOP. I can't remember her last name. She fit all the requirements for a compassionate release motion. They would not give it to her. She was pregnant. She was put on a ventilator pregnant. Delivered her baby pregnant on a ventilator in a coma. Died 11 days later.
Mm-hmm.
And she was within a year of her sentence. She got out within like 9 months. Like I said, she met all the requirements for compassionate release, but they just kept dragging her feet. And that young girl died. Now that baby has to go their whole life without their mama because they were irresponsible in what they were supposed to do.
Wow. Comment Evans said there has been a bill on the Republican desk to start a behavior credit again, and they refuse to vote on it.
That we've been hearing about that in the MDOC. I've been back and forth in the MDOC for years. I've been hearing about that for the last 10 years. They bring it up, shoot it down, bring it up, shoot it down. They'll get us all hyped and geeked up. We'll start petitions, we'll start flyers, we'll start calling our family at home to, you know, start pushing paperwork, and it's just a no-go every time, you know. And then it's the Republicans blaming the Democrats blaming the Republicans, and it's just a back and forth.
It's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Benjamin Mays, I have a nephew with COVID in Jackson, and he gets nothing. I know Gerard, he got vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin D, and some zinc. That's what he got.
Oh, my good friend, he's there. A good friend. He just caught COVID, and he has very severe asthma, but he's healthy. But he has very severe asthma, and we already know the COVID attacks the respiratory system. He just tested positive for COVID. They ripped him out of his cube. He's in an 8-man cube in a level 1. They came and took him out the cube. Didn't test anyone else in that cube. Just came and took him because he tested positive because he was randomly tested, I believe, a week and a half before that date. Came, took him out the cube and quarantined him, and they have not gave him not one thing since he's been quarantined. I just got a JPay letter from him today.
You know, I got a call from a parent, and she has 2 sons that are incarcerated, and just moving people around like they don't mean anything, not telling them anything at all. Pack up, let's go. Come back, got tested. Now you got COVID. Now you out to another prison. I mean, I don't get it. I do get it, but I just don't get why nothing is happening. Why we seem so powerless in this issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gotta be something that we can do. These are people's lives. Like, how do we, I don't know the answer, but I know we got to find one.
They're so the system is so unorganized right now how they're handling it. Not it was a bad thing because I was able to get tested so many times, but I got tested for COVID 9 times in 1 month.
Wow.
Yeah. After the 5th test, they couldn't put it in my left nostril anymore. They had to go on the right one because it just kept bleeding. I don't know if it just blocked itself or just, I don't know what it was, but it's just so unorganized, man. And I feel like the reason why they're doing it and keep doing it because they've been getting away with it for years. No one's like, you just said, we all have to come together and, expose them, then follow through with the plan. And, we've probably been exposing them for years. We have, maybe not on the platform we are now, but now it's time to come with the plan.
Yeah.
Because when we organize, we win.
Right.
Carmen says families have to order vitamins through the care packs. They're not giving them to them. I know I ordered, I sent vitamins to Gerard as well. And because he had attention probably on his case because we was making so much noise about his health care in regards to the Crohn's disease and him getting those infusions might be one of the reasons why he was, getting vitamins every day, the things that he needed every day.
Yeah, you only get the care pack once every 3 months, right?
Every 90 days, yeah. But you can order vitamins off of the store, off commissary.
Yeah.
But a lot of times they don't keep those in stock. Because a lot of guys don't buy them. So when they run out, it takes months to get them. And we already know this crisis hit. And they were out of stock with a lot of things. A lot of things ran out. So they're not in no rush to put them back on the shelves in their little warehouse or whatever they got going on. When we order from Secure Pack, we get that from another company. And that company comes from Access, I believe. So that's when you order those Secure Packs every 90 days, they're all about money. So that's why they keep those vitamins and stuff on hand all the time.
Hi, Allie. Thank you for joining us.
Hey,
how's it going? Hey, how's it going?
We're all good. Introduce yourself for those who don't know you.
Yes, Alexandria. I'm with Michigan Liberation and Accountability for Dearborn. I fight this fight because Black people do not deserve the treatment that we are getting, and a woman's body is not a group discussion.
Absolutely. So we're talking about the COVID and the urgency that is needed for our governor or for our lawmakers to make some type of move, because we have over half of the prison population just in Michigan alone has been affected by COVID. So that's what we're talking about. And
they're trying to push the governor to action.
Right.
Different tactics.
Benjamin May says we are treated like we're in the 50s and the early 60s. Comment Edward Evans said we have to reach out to our state reps to interview as well. I called the warden every day when my son was tested positive.
That statement right there is true, right? That we can make as much noise as we want, but we also gotta be on our state reps' head as much as possible. Even if you have the best relationship with them, right, still feel vulnerable enough to hold them accountable. I know people that's like, I'm not going to do any name blasts. Hopefully they watching, right? But I know folks that's like sitting right in the governor's office, right next to them, right next to the governor, and will be in many spaces hearing all of this conversation. Will be strategizing with a lot of formerly incarcerated people, but would not be vulnerable enough to go back to their boss to say, hey, we're getting this wrong and we need to be held accountable, right? And, I think there's a lot of playfulness that's in politics right now. Everybody want to be in the spotlight, want to be on the camera, want to be on that pedestal. And the way that I get there is by holding hands with that person that's there, the people that we put into that position of power. But, I'm pushing them as well if you're friends with the governor, all right, and you call yourself friends with me, I got loved ones that's locked up. My pops, he ain't coming home. I just got a text this morning. One of my close friends, he got COVID. He don't know what to do. He gonna thug it out, right? But if you friends with me, like, you gotta feel that pain that I'm feeling every day, thinking about my loved ones. You gotta feel that agony that I feel when people are calling me, crying and not knowing what to do. And you also have to feel that agitation that I'm getting from the community, because people are looking for those like myself and other people to make some action on the governor, right? And they're not going to let up on us, because they look at us as the activists, as the organizers, as the leaders. And so when we got that pressure come from the community, it's like, yo, I'm gonna put that pressure right on those folks. Yo, y'all my friend. We're gonna go to the governor's office. We're gonna do just like those white folks did. We're gonna show up at the governor's house. We're gonna go to MDOC. We're gonna gridlock Lansing, right? Like, all of that work over the summer. And it's not just about police brutality. It's not just about getting Biden and Harris elected. Like, that same power that got these people in office, yo, we use that same power to agitate to get the things that we need. All right. And I think that's what we're trying to avoid, because it's embarrassing in a sense, but we got to stand on our power, right? And we can't just allow our power to be minimized and thrown up against the wall and see what sticks out. And this also can't be no playfulness. Like, I'm not a friendly organizer, so I'm not going to sit around and sing kumbaya and hold hands and kiss the ring, right? I'm going to tell you when you're wrong. And if you want to ostracize me from a table, guess what? I'm going to either create my own damn table, or it's a million other tables I can get at. You get what I'm saying? But I'm not here to play with people.
Stand on that table.
Yeah, stand on that table, flip it over. Yeah. Jesus did it. I'm going to do it too, right? But, and the only reason I'm saying this now is because, like, I got a call earlier, from one of the great returning citizens, and they told me, like, yo, there's a meeting happening, and there's certain folks that don't want me at the meeting, because they know I'll blast them. They know I'll put the everything on Front Street. But I'm not doing that, to get the big ups or get the likes or whatever. It's like, yo, people's lives are being harmed right now. All right. If I care about the folks in my community, I'm going to care about those same people in the prison system. They are people at the end of the day.
Yeah, we had a lady on last week, Sandy, and her one was a double amputee.
Yeah.
And all the people surrounding him was sick with COVID, and he had heart issues. And I mean, a double amputee, heart issues is not some compassionate release for him. I mean, we have people that should be it should be a no-brainer for them. Like, we need to move people. But they're piling these people in these small spaces, and then you wonder why so many people. Well, there's no wonder. We know why so many people are getting sick. I mean, today, again, I had to go back to Gerard. He was telling me, he was listening to the governor speak on about what was going on, and he said they said we have bleach. We don't have bleach. Not, it's not accessible. They have to get the bleach, but they should be able to have things that's accessible. So they can clean themselves, so we can stop the spread. She says this all the time, stop the spread, but stopping the spread in Michigan Department of Corrections, it's like fire.
Yes, it's no way to do that if they're not even the proper amount of feet away. They close corners next to each other. They might be sentenced. Some of them are sentenced to life. They're not sentenced to death, but they might as well be in this condition. So. Right. It's wildfire for sure.
How do you social distance in a bunk bed?
In an 8-man queue.
Right.
Or in a 3-man room that's the same size as a Genesee County jail room.
Mm-hmm. Using the same bathroom, same showers. We can keep going on we can keep doing this, right? We can keep saying it's impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible. There's no way. I would never advocate for our governor to open up more prisons in the state to move people around, right? I think once those prisons are shut down, that money needs to go right into the community where folks been locked up, right? And so, even if they were to open up prisons, you still can't prove to me that you can do this safely and effectively inside MDOC. At the bottom line, they just weren't created to socially distance. They weren't none of us was prepared for this virus, right? So why continue to put more lives in danger? And when you know, I want to go back to this statement about opening up the gate, you know, and I think Trisha, you can speak to this if you was part of this work. You know, we started that Black Moms Bailout, and this year, like, we were intentionally going in to bail out Black moms across Wayne and Oakland County. But once the virus kicked off, you know, we switched and said this is a rapid response bailout. And, you know, we were a part of two lawsuits, a lawsuit in Wayne County and a lawsuit in Oakland County against the county jails. The Wayne County, we didn't win that lawsuit, but we got down in Oakland County, right? But what I've been able to witness is they opened up the gates inside our county jail and let like damn near 3/4 of the population out. There was a point of time where in Wayne County, there's 3 jails in Wayne County, and there was only about 160 people that was left inside the jails. So no matter what they was in there for, right, these people were able to get out to stay safe from the virus. You know, Chief Craig, anybody that want to go on the record and say, oh, well, the violence that comes from these people getting out. We kept a track record of the majority of people that's getting out, that has got out. We stayed in contact with those people. We connected on the resources. There was one young woman, she needed a hot water tank. We bought that, right? But one thing I can say is nobody, maybe about a 1% population from that overall group that came out committed another crime and went back. Nobody is out here thinking about shooting and killing and selling dope and selling their body or anything else once they came out. We didn't see that. We didn't see a rise in the crime with the folks that were let out, right? So we got to stop this whole notion that if we open up the gates, people just going to come out and commit more crime. I went to prison for armed robbery, right? I didn't get no rehabilitation in prison. I met some older cats that stayed on my head and told me, yo, if I don't get my stuff together, they was going to kill me in there. That's what got me together, not the prison system. And I came home and I'm doing that same type of work that I was doing in there, right? So when we think, oh, we just gonna open up the gates and people gonna commit more crimes, what makes you think it's not already happening if that's the case? But we got to get away. That's that brainwash type of talk that if we open it up, oh, is Nick gonna come home and rob more people? I haven't done it yet, right? And what's keeping me away from doing it is that I'm connected to resources now. You know, I can make a livable wage. I went to school. I got a couple degrees. I got my own house. All of that stuff. That's how we need to be thinking. If we ever had the opportunity to open up the gates, don't talk about what crime they're going to commit. Talk about what resources you're going to get to that person when they come out.
Right. They keep us in a fear mindset, keep distracted instead of focusing on things that could be more productive and more positive. Carmen Evans said, I called my state rep with my son on the phone. He was able to tell her what was really going on. They told them that they had bleach, they had masks, but only the COs did. They were moving them around, putting people who tested positive with people who tested negative. After speaking to my son and scheduling a meeting with the person over at MDOC, they got bleach, masks, and reorganized into pods with light people according to their test results, as well as having meals delivered to them to their pods. That's awesome, Carmen.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Right.
That's amazing. See, but once they know that people are paying attention, they do something about it. And that is where I say to us, I don't see enough public outrage. Not the way that we need to of human lives. No, we need to see people that are mad as hell and that want to do something about it. But see, the thing is that a lot of people, if it doesn't touch them, they think it's not their issue. And that's what we got to get away from. If it touches one of us, it touches all of us. It becomes all of our problem. We should fight for people like we would fight for ourselves if we were in the middle of that situation. And that's how we tackle this.
Right.
Yeah, personally, I don't like how, police, okay, there's an entry point and the exit point or end point, because prison, end point or exit point, depending. So I don't like how we just focus majorly on the police all the time. It's police, little prosecutors, but I need to see people focusing on these prisons too. The outrage need to be about the prisons too, because it's the whole damn tree. It's not just, 1/3 or a half. No, it's the whole thing. because that's where that money is going into. It's going in the prisons, and different materials and things are being made in the prisons. It's a lot of money going there. So that like really needs to be looked at, not just defunding the police. We need to look at the prisons too.
Defund the prisons.
Yeah.
Profit over people.
Yeah. It's a big problem.
Mm-hmm.
Justice will not be served until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are.
That's right.
And that's a reality. Like we all, even though we're talking about people that's incarcerated, but we also have to mention people who work there. They're one of the largest employers in Michigan. So with that being said, going in and out puts the public at risk. So like the person has said, who cares? They can all die. You have people who work there. What about them? What about their families? What about, people who they come in contact with in the stores or in churches or wherever they go? So you're right. What affects one of us affects all of us.
Uh-huh.
So, Trisha, I know you were speaking about doing something more radical. Also doing, like an email type of protest, a letter campaign. What else can we have? People that's listening.
See, we've done all of that stuff, right? And it's like still hasn't moved them. So my thing is, how do we get that main line? That's what I'm working on. I'm trying to work on getting the main line where that's the phone that you answer.
Right.
And that means that getting with someone that is close to this person and getting this information. And the thing is that, look, I think our brother said it. If this is your friend, if the governor is your friend, I don't got no problem with that person being your friend. But you know what? In my camp, my friends, if you my friend, I'm telling you the truth. That's just it. You can't be my friend if I can't tell you the truth about what you're doing wrong, or you can't tell me the truth about what I'm doing wrong. That's what iron sharpens iron. So if you are in a position to be doing something and, I want to drop a name. So you talking about you ain't going to drop a name. I want to drop a name because I'm tired of it. Stop being that token. Stop being that one that's sitting there licking somebody's boots when you are in a position to challenge people to do what is right. At the end of the day, if you're not going to challenge people to do what's right, you may as well move on out of the way because they will one day move you when they don't need that token no more.
Mm-hmm. Got to be a leader of the people. Mm-hmm. Not a leader if you're not a leader of people.
Yep.
And being a leader of the people, it means that listening to the people, taking action when the people need action, not when you want to or where it's politically correct to do so. Because right now they're playing politics. They're playing politics with people's lives and people are dying. We're talking about like 5 or 6 people just this week alone, 90 people in total, 6,300 active cases right now. What are we doing? They've been talking about this second phase all summer.
Uh-huh.
They dealt with this on a large scale in March, April, May, June.
Yeah.
So where did we drop the ball? Where did you guys drop the ball? You knew the second wave was coming, and you still allowing people to die every day or get sick or jeopardizing their health, potentially giving them, like you said, Ali, a death sentence.
Uh-huh.
What are we doing? Where are our leaders on this? Why is everyone so silent? That's the part that's hurtful, the silence. As we hear these numbers, they make it sound like data where these are people, loved ones.
Uh-huh.
I want to ask a quick question. You keep saying, people in position and friends and don't want to, say names and stuff like that. Do y'all think these people may be scared to speak on a certain situation because they don't want to lose their position? I'm not too much in the loop, so that's why I'm just asking.
Yeah,
I think that's
go ahead.
Go ahead, bro.
I was just gonna say it's pretty politics.
Right.
right? Yeah, people don't want to lose things. But also like the fact is when we talk about accountability, it's one of the hardest conversations to have when we're doing this work. Nobody wants to be held accountable because they feel like it's a punishment, right? If I mess up and all my constituents come at me, they feel like they're being punished, right? But that is like accountability isn't about punishment. It's not a punished thing. Like I don't even like to say that, right? Like I use this word with my children. I'm not trying to punish them. And it's safe to say right now, our legislative body is not getting this right. You are messing up, right? And you have to be held accountable. We're easy to throw accountability around when oh, it's the Republicans, it's the Trump campaign that's doing this. We're looking for accountability. We got lawyers, we got billions of dollars, that's going into hearings and everything else. But when it comes to matters like the prison, right? Nobody wants to be the one known to let these violent criminals out, as they would say. Nobody wants to be the one to say, yo, I'm the one that opened up the floodgates to get people out, which we constantly saying as organized, that is not the case, right? But if we know for a fact people's lives are being harmed, and let me just step outside this COVID-19 box for a second. The violence that's inside prison, let's get this right? That's not a thing that happens amongst the prison population. You know this, bro. A lot of those guards that come in dealing with their PTSD after taking a tour during a wartime, right? And then they come right into the system, right? They come right into the prison, and then they want to agitate the inmate. They want to agitate the folks that's incarcerated, which will bring on the violence, right? The drugs that's in the system. How in the hell there's nobody getting visits at MDOC right now, but you are still finding dope inside the prison, but you don't want to hold officers accountable, right? Let's talk about the women, right? Women, come on now. We have women that's getting locked up, being chained to beds and having children. Now, and then ask that person, do you want to be chained up to a bed? I can't do it, right? But I wouldn't want to see my daughter, my sister, my mama, my grandma, my auntie, none of those folks chained up and I don't even want to think about that, right? So it's like, it's all of these different things that's in there. Nobody wants to just, hey, let me be held accountable and actually make some real changes. And the last thing I'm going to say, we are not hearing nothing about the juvenile system. We don't know what those kids are going through.
Yeah.
Y'all locking these kids up in rooms for 23 hours out the day and giving them an opportunity to get a tray in a day room, can't watch TV or nothing. But nobody is saying anything. Our governor, not the organizers, not even myself. I hold myself accountable for that as well. But we're not even talking about the children. We're solely focused on MDOC because we see the tragedy that's in there. But like Ali said, if it's in there, right? It's in our county jails, it's in our juveniles, it's in our police departments, it's the whole damn system. It's not just one leaf, one fruit, or one root. It's the whole system that needs to be held accountable.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Why you have to do that? Why you have to put something else on the list for us to do?
Oh, he did. He just did that. Because that
he did. He just put something else on our agenda. But you are so right.
Yeah.
You are so right. I ain't heard nothing. And guess what? Other kids I ain't heard nothing about. The ones that was put in cages. They still in cages?
Right.
Are they still away from their families? Like, man, oh, thank you for saying that. See, that's why I love you, bro, man. You keep us thinking.
Hey, the juvenile system, like she said, is part of the whole tree.
Yeah.
Yes, man. Those young minds, that is not a place for it's not a place for a young mind. All that development that's still happening, you should be trying to nurture it and help and heal.
Right.
Like not you damaging their brain. It's still developing. It's just cruelty completely.
Right. Yeah.
Carmen said it has to be attorneys as well who knows what's going on in these prisons, holding them accountable. She's right. We got a whole, you're right, we got a whole tree. So we're winding down, and I'll start with you, Nicholas. What would you want to leave our listeners with?
A boatload of stuff. I lead the listeners. I'm thinking about the people that don't have a ideal of what's happening inside our prisons. I'm thinking about the people that really don't have any interest of saving lives in prisons because you view these people as committing crime. They need to do their time, right? I think going into like, we had a hell of a moment for 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017. The last time it really like reality felt like it was sensible was in 2016, right? And so we went through this 4 years of dehumanizing life, from our president all the way down, from our immigration system, our prison system, our school system, right? Just dehumanizing life all the way around. Going in 2021, I want you to think about a human life. I want you to think about these people as being people inside the prison system. I'm going to say this again. I went to prison for armed robbery. I was not the best of people out here in this world. On my back, I have a tattoo that says gunplay because that was the lifestyle that I was really about. Toting guns, shooting people, robbing people, and selling dope. And when you step off into this prison system, you have real people in there that care about young Black boys, young Black men, that is willing to invest their time, their energy, and sacrifice their life to get a lot of us together, right? There's no program, no reentry program, anything like that. When you're taking that talent inside a prison and you're throwing it away in a grave, right? When we use this rhetoric, especially amongst Black families, when we say the most smartest people in prison is Black men, we found all the educated Black men in prison. Think about the Black man and woman. I'm gonna put that also in there. Think about that Black man and woman that you're willing to throw away because you don't want to acknowledge their life. 95% of the people will come home to your community. Allow those people to reach that point to say, I went through this system, I received something out of it, I want to come home. The more that we can get our community involved with just saying there are precious human lives in there, no matter what they've done. We believe in rehabilitation, right? That's why we have a prison system. We believe that they can be rehabilitated. Let's lead with that going to 2021 and treat people as humans.
Yes. Wow. Awesome. Before I go, Carmen Evans said maybe there's a statistic angle to come from. Speaking of the people who have to work in these conditions, maybe that's a way to be heard. Jay, what would you like to leave the listeners with?
I'm big on this. If it serves no purpose, then don't entertain it. And the purpose that we are serving today is way more and far-fetched than what they trying to sugarcoat it and make it seem like. They're not gonna keep putting us on the back burner. They're not just gonna keep making our bed and laying us in it, and we're not gonna get up and do something about it. I know it's time. So, I'm here. I will, look into a lot more recordings y'all did. Go back and look at some live videos so I can catch up and see what all's been talked about, and check into some more things so I can be more equipped for the next, video conference.
Right, and we welcome you back because I know you have a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah,
you can extend to people like Nicholas said that don't know what's going on inside these prisons. They don't have a clue. Just think people are there just to throw what put them in the key. And we need to educate our community because when we educate our community, we'll have more people and we are strong in numbers. Allie, what do you want to leave us with?
I'll leave you guys with when you're doing FOIAs and looking at this data, don't just stop at like citations and okay, these many people getting arrested. Keep doing those FOIAs. Go to the tree. Keep going. Put that tree together. You need all the pieces to solve the problem. I'll also say that stop waiting and do. Stop waiting for a moment and actually do it. And I say that because when was the last time you heard about a state prison that, made national news? Only thing that comes to my mind, I think Rikers Island. I think that's the only thing as of recent. And that means, to me, more work needs to be done around that. And I can hold myself accountable on that. Around prisons, it needs to be prisons, prosecutors, and it also needs to be the police. All of it. Last thing I'll say is keep those in mind during these holidays, especially those that have loved ones that are incarcerated. Positive affirmations for them.
Right. The holidays, right? Because they're not even having visitors or anything right now.
Yeah.
So the holidays are going to be tough. So I just want to leave us with, it is our duty to fight for our freedoms. It is our duty to win. We must love, support, and because we have nothing to lose but our change. So thank you guys for joining me and turning this movement into movement. This moment into a movement. And I appreciate you guys. And we will all get together again, hopefully soon. And keep up all the good work you guys are doing. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.